And let me just intercede here and tell you this, that this is the official, right now, here in this studio, right this very second, in this version of reality that you're watching, this is the official BRJ genre change, where we change from pop, prog, into prog punk, baby! We're bringing you in the studio this morning, one of the prog punk activists, BRJ.
Good evening. We are Big Rooster Jeff, and our new album is out soon.
I'm Max, and I'm a devout Christian.
I'm Patrick, and every day I'm still figuring out where the hell I am. No, I can't say that. I'm Patrick, and I'm not quite sure how I got here.
I'm Ruben, and I'm a non-binary magpie, and we came together in early 2018 to form Big Rooster Jeff, and we've been gigging solidly and writing material and hanging out as pals and bandmates ever since.
We got into this together, and it took us 1 or 2 weeks to realise this is exactly what we want to do. Ideas came out of nowhere, and they still do now.
Because we come from such different walks of life, completely opposite ends of all kinds of spectrums, that's what makes us, when we come together as a triad, so unique and what we believe is quite an interesting and innovative sound. What a dumb question. Don't pretend like you don't know the answer to that. Don't make me sick.
The Good Notes is an amalgamation of our history, to me. We have songs from the beginning of when we started to songs we only wrote just a few months ago. And even though you can hear the progression, they're still linear between them because we built them up to what they are now. Some of them have taken 2 or 3 years to get to where they are now, and some of them have just been started.
The Good Notes is a philosophy. The Good Notes is a way of life. The Good Notes are the notes that are good. By the grace of God, we play them, and we give those notes to you.
So to me, the Good Notes transcends complexity or simplicity. I find there's a lot of snobbery in music as to what is good, and things that are complicated being synonymous with being good, but we want to show that whether something has a million notes or whether something has just 3 notes, if those notes move you and make you feel an emotion, they are the Good Notes, which is also the name of our brand new studio album out on September 2nd.
I've been musical most of my life, but it was when I ran into Robbie Williams at about 7 or 8 years old that I realised that I wanted to be a performer and not just a musician.
Did you let him entertain you? When I was a small boy, I grew up listening to Queen and Meatloaf, Split Enz and Tim Finn. I'd always wanted to be the front man, the biggest and the loudest. And currently, I am the biggest, and at the back, I certainly am the loudest.
So for me, I first wanted to do music when I heard David Bowie's Life on Mars. That was the song that changed my life and awakened a part of my brain which I didn't even know was there, and I even got to tell this to Rick Wakeman himself. He was very shocked when a pimply 17-year-old with long hair came up and tapped him on the shoulder and said, "You inspired me to be a musician," but it was one of the proudest moments of my entire life.
We'd had a couple of releases before this. This is our first big step, being a proper debut album. But we did release an EP and, a single and so on. And I think even though we worked together very well, I think outsiders could find it quite hard to work with us, just inside jokes, playing around, and, maybe our work ethic is different to everyone else's. Doing it by this proxy means this is 100% ours. It's all our inspiration, it's all our work. And besides a couple of guest people, violinist and a guest singer, this is just down to us.
So during the Luciferian lockdowns, me and Ruben got together and we put out a solo record under my name. This record came out better than either of us could have imagined. The results were absolutely phenomenal, and when me and Ruben examined this closer, we realised that it was because we were in our home environment. We were in a place that we knew. We weren't rushed for time. We weren't pressured with deadlines. We weren't paying through the nose for every single second. So it came to us, why not do Big Rooster Jeff like this?
I think for me, it comes down to being comfortable. I think sometimes, although big studios are great, there's something slightly uncomfortable about a man behind a £50,000 mixing console watching you play through a window, thinking if you make any mistake, it's costing you about £10 to go back and redo it. So it was much of a decision that we wanted to take the music in a more complex direction, and unfortunately, using click tracks in big studios, recording separately, it just wasn't an option to get to articulate the more complicated and sometimes difficult sections of the music we wanted to produce.
I do think as well, with the outsider job, it's one of those where you can't, if you were just a rock band, or if you were a punk band, or if you were a dance band, or whatever, it's easier for an outsider to maybe have a bit of a perception of what you want. But when we were going into these studios, we didn't even know what we wanted.
I think as well, part of the reason why we chose to work this way was just time. We felt that time often boundaries musicians. We wanted to create an album with a sense of scope where people would re-listen to it to hear all the weird little overdubs and sounds that we put in. And again, that spontaneous element, whereas if we wanted to put, let's say, a guitar riff down on the track, all we had to do was plug a guitar in, play the riff, and it was fine. Whereas if we were in a big studio and we suddenly had an idea, it would just take far too long to get an amp set up, to mic it up, to get it compressed and to get it sounding good. And by the time all of that was done, the tone may have been right, but the idea and the performance was just completely gone.
We wanted to be in our home environment. We wanted to be comfortable. We wanted to be secure. We wanted to be able to let it all flow and let it come out. And let's be real, you can't do that really in a new environment under loads of pressure where there's loads of money involved and deadlines. No. That's why we did things BRJ DIY.
I think one of my favourite tracks on the album is, what's it called again? What's Pat Boy actually called?
Pat Boy.
Pat Boy. I sort of got the idea for the guitar riff for Pat Boy in a very strange time in my life in a living room because I didn't want to go to bed. And to give this little tiny riff that I had to my two friends and then help it turn it into something massive, something unreal with a proper structure, but then I can still relate it back to when I just had this twiddly little riff. And to me, that's absolutely beautiful. Something to share between these two friends of mine.
Is the reason you didn't want to go to bed because that bed had a frame?
I think my favourite bits on this album, I'm going to say what both of them do. Max's vocals have gotten really intense, a lot more crackly, and it's the power in there. And I feel this power is because we've been in this environment, because we're comfortable, we've not got someone we don't know watching us, and you can unleash yourself quite a bit. With Ruben, the master of overdubbing and ridiculous production, you just twinkle everywhere and it's excellent.
Favourite song? Probably Hallelujah, 16 songs. My favourite bit, that little twinkle that Ruben does on the piano with the organ sound a month ago in a little quiet bit, that little fill. I'm jelly.
My favourite song is the title track, The Good Notes, which is an interesting song on the album because we recorded the version in the studio like we did with all the other tracks, and again, it was brilliant, but something just wasn't quite right about it. On a technical level, everything was in time, everything was perfect, but it just wasn't quite there. We happened to have a gig where we got the stems and it was recorded, and that night, something magical happened on that stage, and that is where we get the version of The Good Notes that is on the album. And I think my favourite bit on the album, again, is the introduction to that song. Patrick Spillane's machine gun snare and hi-hat on that track are just absolutely brilliant, and I think Max's guitar solo at the end of that song is just so wild.
One thing with this album, which is just absolutely perfect in my eyes, is since the beginning, since 2018, us three have just done this for ourselves. We've enjoyed every note we've ever played together, and it's this trinity that we've got together, which is just, it's beautiful. And if we could just have one person in the world that enjoys our music as much as we do making it, what could be more perfect than that?
So you've all seen the iceberg meme, right? I feel like that one is Big Rooster Jeff in a nutshell. So for those of you who've not seen it, here it is on the screen right now. It is the meme where you've got the top of the iceberg where everyone sees, and you've got this under bit which is massive and is vast. And I feel like The Good Notes is the under part of this iceberg. It's this part which we've known about, which we've wanted to do for years and years, but only this very top of our live shows and all that has been visible for the public for the past few years. But I'm excited for the iceberg to be raised out of the water for the whole world to see.
When this album's out, and obviously, you know, it's going to be our tool for the next level for me. And hopefully this is the key of what we've got now. We can spread it around, someone will hear it and says, I think we can do something with this.
I guess I'm really grateful for the amazing people that we've got to hang out with and work with over the past 4 years, whether it's just chilling and watching with other support bands. You know, being amongst your own kind and your own ilk as a musician is really nice, you know, being with people who are all in it just because they love the music. They're not driven by money, they're not driven for fame. We and they are just in it because because we love the music and we'll really appreciate it to everyone who's come to our show, to anyone who's even just streamed one of the songs on Spotify. Thank you. And to you watching this, you are the secret fourth Rooster.
Yeah, baby!
I mentioned that this album and all the music we've done is for us, but we couldn't possibly be where we are now with the fans, the friends, the gigs we've done, the sounds we've created without people like you. Give us a listen, give us a like and a share, and just see what magic happens to you. Hopefully it'll be what happened to us. Since we started, I couldn't believe the encouragement and the passion that we got from the people we love. Whether it be people driving us places, lending us gear, getting us into the back doors of some of these studios and all these sorts of scenarios. And thank you. Love and light from me.
To everyone who has helped, supported and encouraged us so far, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've absolutely made our dreams come true. And let's make this dream keep going on and on and on, guys. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love you. Take care. God bless you all.
The album will be available to stream and to buy absolutely everywhere on September 2nd at midnight. You name it, it will be there. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Tidal, Qobuz, Deezer, Bandcamp, and even for free on our very own Big Rooster Jeff YouTube channel where you're watching this video right now. Please subscribe and hit the bell for future notifications.
Did you make some of those up? I've never heard of that. I slept outside the other day. I'd set up the bed outside because it was that warm. I'm not insane sleeping inside it warm.
Dead.
And about 12 o'clock, I got splashed in the face, and I freaked out a bit. Like I couldn't see it, I just got splashed. I was like, "Yo, what's that?" And then the next day, come to see these two clowns, and they showed me a video, and it was them plotting and deceiving against me to go splash me. So near midnight, they drove from Dewsbury to Tingley just to squirt water on me and then drive away. Friends, dedication. The studio when his phone were on charge all the time.
When there was that special power plug for the SSL mixing console, and next to this plug for this like £50,000 mixing console, SSL G4000 was just a USB went out into an iPhone 4.
Five.
Alright.
My name is Max, and I hope you do like these tracks.